Hey y'all, welcome to LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here, and welcome to episode 1 of the Summer of Sable, where all summer long, on every Sunday, I'm going to release a new video covering a Sable figure. So the point of these videos is to not only give you an up-close look at the figure itself, but to kind of go back in time and get our nostalgia feels out and check the packaging out, because just looking at the packaging of all these Sable figures, it takes me back to 97, 98, 99, when I really first started collecting wrestling figures. So I'm really excited for that. Now, anyone that's a fan of the channel and knows me might be a little surprised that I am doing a feature covering Sable figures, considering she's not known for some of the best storylines or best moments that help progress women. However, in my opinion, she really did the best that she could with what she was given, and there were some really big moments that did progress women. I mean, she powerbombed freaking Marc Mero on TV, and that was such a huge historic moment and really showed how strong these women can be. So, with that being said, I'm excited to dive in, take a closer look at this figure, and let's have fun with this series. So here it is, WWF Managers Series 1 Sable and Marc Mero MOC. Now we are going to open it up and take a closer look at the figures after we take a real in-depth look at the packaging and get our nostalgia feels going. Now another reason why I wanted to cover all of Sable's figures in these quick little mini reviews is, sadly, there's not much hope for Sable getting a Mattel figure in the future. She's had her legal issues with WWE in the past, and that bridge might be burnt. And that's a tragedy, it really is, because I would love to have a Mattel Sable figure, especially in the attire on the night where she powerbombed Marc Mero or many other iconic attires. So yeah, I mean, kind of what we have as far as Sable figures goes might be all we ever get. But we'll see. Now, taking a closer look at this packaging here, I love the bright, vibrant colors. I like that WWF logo in the corner. And let's talk real quick about that Manager Series 1. So that is such a great idea that I wish Mattel would take and run with. Pretty much the only time we get managers or even announcers or commentators is kind of a build-a-figure type series, but how cool would it be to get a manager package with a wrestler? Now, this was at the time where Sable was the manager for Marc Mero. You know, obviously down the road, as we'll see with her figures as we progress down her releases, she does break away from Marc and becomes her own entity here, but here she's just a manager for Marc Mero, and that's what it's labeled as in the series. So the bubble is a little bit yellowed, and yeah, it doesn't really matter because we're going to open it. On the bottom here, we got that new generation official licensed product, WWF logo. That's pretty awesome. We got Jakks Pacific. And then on the back here, if I don't hit the camera, let's go back in time here. So Manager Series 1 is really cool. We have Bob Backlund and the Sultan, Mankind with Paul Bearer, Marc Mero and Sable, Crush and Clarence Mason. And then looking at some other lines here, we have Bad Boys with Farouk, Jerry the King Lawler, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Justin Hawk Bradshaw, Vader in that weird body mold, and then Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And what's really cool about these figures, they come with these little display stands, which when I was a kid playing with these Jakks figures, I used those as chairs. You know, they were kind of weapons. Now, over here on the right, you'll see the official World Wrestling Federation Monster Ring. Now, this ring did not match the size of the Jakks. I believe it was a repainted LJN ring. I could be completely wrong, but correct me. But it's definitely huge. I mean, if you look at this picture here, Vader can't even look over that top rope, which is crazy. So I believe that's a repainted, reused LJN ring. And yeah, the Monster Ring, I know a lot of people have nostalgia feels, but I actually had the Attitude Ring that had launchers. So as we go down the line with our figure releases, I'm sure we'll come across some box art of some stuff that I had in the past. And then down here, I believe these are the little mini, 3-inch figures. I guess by Jakks. I thought they were made by somebody else. But yeah, I remember the Treasure had this growing up. One of these little mini rings, these mini figures. A really cool thing to travel with on the road. And then here we talk about that bone-crunching action technology where when you move the joint or the limb, it's supposed to have a little crack, a little noise like it's a crunching bone. And then at the bottom here, we can see the copyright. Okay, 1997 Jakks. So this was a year or two before I got my big old, I'd say, Jack's Christmas, where my mom and dad got me tons of Jack's BCA figures. A lot of them were the Slammers or Signature Series, but that's where I have most of the nostalgia feel. So this was fairly early in that BCA line, and I didn't have this growing up, but I do now. So with that being said, let's open it up and take a closer look at the figures. I know it's hard opening up something that has this much nostalgia for some, but I just want to get a closer look at the figures. And side note, I really want Marc Mero for my sober shelf. You know, he's battled addictions in the past, turned his life around, and he's quite the role model, so he's going right up on my sober shelf. Now, pulling out this display stand, it's interesting because there's one peg hole, even though it's supposed to stand on both, so we'll try that out in a second. Now, let's get Wild Man out here. Oh my gosh, he's crazy looking. He is crazy looking. And then let's get Sable. Okay, so let's start off. Oh boy, that is not what I expected, y'all. Holy moly. Okay, so let's take a look at Wild Man first. So this guy, I'd say, yeah, he's wild. He's crazy. This definitely takes me back to when I played with figures. I did not have a Marc Mero, but look at those eyes. Look at those crazy, crazy eyes. Oh my gosh. Now, fun story about him is the very first wrestling figure I remember seeing, I was probably the age of my daughter, so I was probably like 6 or 7, and I remember seeing a WCW, was it San Francisco Toy Makers, I believe? It was a Johnny B. Bad figure, and I remember seeing it at Hill's department store, so I still need to track that down one day, but this will be up on my sober shelf for now. Really, really cool here. Yeah, the eyes are a little off, but it definitely adds character to the figure, so I love that. I really like this attire here. On the back it says Wild Man. The China Wild Man, we could say, because it's made in China. Now, before we move on to Sable, let's try this bone-crunching action. Let's see if the leg snaps off. Oh! It still does it. Okay, that's cool. Let's try the arm. Okay, I don't think there's any in the arm. It's just in the leg right now. Oh, 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 oh. Cool. I love this. This is a fun figure. Just the design overall brings me back to my collecting days. Now, Sable here. Sable is a lot more limited than I thought she would be. All right, so her legs are just like a molded, like shallow piece of plastic. That is weird. That is weird, y'all. I did not know this. Okay, and they do reuse this body a couple times. We'll see that in these reviews. But the head, starting off here, it does not move at all. It's just straight up, kind of a cheaper plastic. This feels like a Happy Meal toy, to be honest. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like a hollow plastic, a cheap Happy Meal toy. This is truly disappointing. You know, she has some, obviously, figure improvements down the line, but they did reuse this body, so it'll be interesting to see. Now, what's interesting about the face, it really doesn't look like Sable, but they gave her this bright yellow hair to simulate blonde, and they gave her the blonde eyebrows, and that just does not look good. That does not look good. Those yellow eyebrows, the yellow hair, not a good look, okay? And the only articulation she really has is her arms. And if you hold them up, that's not a good look either. It looks like zombie Sable, okay? So let's put those down. Now, what really stands out about this figure is obviously this sculpted dress. It is sculpted on her. Pretty nice, actually. Even these little straps in the back are sculpted. And we have this, glitter pattern all over. And it even has a little texture, like a ridge. I don't know if you can kind of see on the camera. Yeah, little tiny bumps that add texture to that dress. And it's kind of funny because the way that this glitter is applied, it's bunched up in some spaces and some it's kind of spread out. So it's almost like they put like an acrylic coating and then just dumped glitter on it and whatever stuck stayed. But yeah, I'm going to be the first to say it. This is not a strong start for Sable's figures. Now, I'm not going to give these scores or anything, but at the end of doing all these Sable figure reviews, I am going to be doing a ranking of all of Sable's figures. So I don't know where this one's going to rank, y'all, but it's not going to be good because, like I said, it feels like a Happy Meal toy. That's crazy. It is so cheap. So it does have one peg hole in the bottom there. So let's do this here. Let's try to stand them up. Okay, so she stands there, and the Wild Man stands with her. Now, let me look at the package here. Okay, so in the package, on the back, they have her just standing here, which, yeah, I guess that works, and using the peg hole for Mark there. Yeah, so they have that. I mean, that's pretty cool, although I am going to separate these. I'm going to have a Sable shelf I'm going to work on here with all the figures I'm reviewing, and then, Mark's going on my sober shelf for all that he's conquered in his life. If you don't know, look him up. he's definitely made a turnaround, and he's pretty awesome for that. Definitely an inspiration. So yeah, this Sable figure, it's the first one we're looking at so far, and it is not a good start, y'all. Not a good start. Alright, so like I mentioned, I'm not giving these Sable figures overall scores. However, when I cover all of the Sable figures at the end of the summer, I am going to do a video where I rank them from my least favorite to favorite, so look for that. And I really hope you like this style video. It's a lot shorter, a lot more quick. Kind of a fun trip back in time, and I'm really trying to open some nostalgia feels for all of you. Or if all of y'all didn't collect at the time, or maybe you weren't even born at the time, at least you get to go back in time and see what the packaging looked like, look at the other series, and then see the quality or lack of quality of the figures were. So I hope you're going to enjoy this series with me, and every Sunday I'm going to be posting a new one, so make sure you tune in and we'll have a brand new figure for next Sunday. So that being said, thank you for stopping by LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. For a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews and some throwback figure reviews like this one, make sure to hit subscribe and become an official resident of LJV today. Also, head on over to ringsidecollectibles.com and use coupon code LJV to save 10% on your order. Head over to Pro Wrestling Tees for LJV merch. And yeah, I hope y'all have a great night.